From the New York Post, Trump tells New York, you must vote for Andrew Cuomo over Zohran Mamdani in New York City election and ditch Curtis Sliwa. I feel so bad for Curtis Sliwa because he's a good dude. He's a good dude, but nobody expects him to win. And I'm sorry, just I wouldn't vote for Cuomo. I wouldn't do it. It's not going to happen. Sorry. Donald Trump can say do it. They short of the Lord himself, I ain't voting for that guy. Now, I don't live in New York. I'm lucky. I left. But Cuomo failed his state miserably during COVID. Trump certainly has some faults during COVID, too. And I don't want Zohran Mamdani to win, but you put up Andrew Cuomo as your candidate. He should have dropped out and endorsed Sliwa. Sorry.
Well, I mean, my life is, do you, like, look at how corrupt the liberal economic order is, and then you know what the option is communism. And I'm like, bro, I don't want communism, but I'm not voting for corrupt corporatocracy. Same way with Cuomo, who put elderly people from nursing homes, or he put them in nursing homes during COVID and got a bunch of people sick.
COVID patients in nursing homes and killed 15,000 elderly people.
We've used the term murder. I mean, many times the word murder has been thrown around for what he did to those people. And now that they're running this guy, I don't know. I don't know who Curtis Sliwa is. If he should
He's the perennial Republican New York candidate for mayor, always running the Guardian Angels. He's a good dude, but he's just not with the New York zeitgeist, I guess. It's a bunch of Democrat wackos. So the best you can get, I suppose, is an independent Cuomo, but he couldn't even win the Democrat primary. That being said, I actually think he's got a decent chance to win. I'm still leaning towards Mamdani winning, but I do think Cuomo has a stronger chance than people realize.
Yeah, well, you pulled up the polls earlier. We were looking at in New York, they seem to want Cuomo, according to this poll that we were looking at earlier. But across the country, it's like 90% Mamdani. You know, you've got all the communists, or who I don't want to.
We'll get into that. But Elon Musk is backing Cuomo. Interestingly, Obama is not backing Mamdani.
That's really cool.
That's very weird.
Well, dude, Obama's. I want to pick that guy's brain. What is he thinking about the current state?
Probably
of politics?
Murdering children.
Just all day, every day. He's like,
he's just
Michelle,
sitting there
we're
being
gonna
like,
go to a beach and live for little kids.
Which I could have a third term, a lot more kids.
Like, he obviously hated Biden. He said, never, don't ever underestimate Joe Biden's ability to F shit up. Like, that was his quote, basically. He said that.
You
to F shit up. I know. Whatever. And so he knows that Biden was a busted object. So he's not totally checked out. You know, he's a smart dude. Yeah. And he's not getting involved.
It's kind of the best of the worst up there. My boys up in upstate New York, they do not like Cuomo whatsoever. But again, it comes down to the best of the worst. You know, what's your option?
I don't think that it's realistic to think that any kind of Republican can win in any kind of modern Republican can win in New York. Yeah, I feel like what's going on in the city is similar to what's going on in the UK, right? Like, even the people in the UK that are considered conservative would be considered Democrats by the US standards, right? None of them actually say things like that would be considered conservative by US standards. None of them want a smaller government. None of them want to limit the NHS. They want to expand the NHS. They want their National Health Service to take care of more people. They want to continue funding. They don't want to actually make the government smaller. And that's, that at least by American standards, conservatives want to make the government smaller. They want to limit the amount of programs that people are on, government programs that the people are on. Because if the government is paying for your food, the government can prevent you from eating. It's a system of control at the end of the day.
Pretty small right now. It's shut down. So
well, I mean,
it's great.
Fair enough,
I love it.
And I love the idea. But I think that the idea that a real conservative could be elected in New York, I don't think that's realistic.
No, even Curtis Sliwa said not to deport illegal immigrants.
Yeah.
It's like New York's like a city-state back in the day. It was a big way of governance back in the day before countries got kicking, before technology and roads and writing and paperwork and all that. But city-states, New York's like a city-state. If you ever go live there, you can go into the city and never leave for 7 years. You don't have to leave the city. You have everything and then more, and you'll never run out of stuff to find.
Except they don't make their own food, but as like a centralized hub.
They're all import. And this is in the 1800s. It was Vanderbilt controlled all the men who made America. The richest man in America controlled the railroads and decided one day we're not going to ship food into New York anymore, and held the government by the balls. And it was a big part of the reason why they started like antitrust, breaking up monopolies, because these corporations can get way too powerful. But that's more of an aside. Living in a city, you garner a different mindset because you really are reliant on like the protector to make sure that the guy doesn't snap and stab you. You just can't. It's hard to take care of yourself in the city. If you shoot and the bullet misses and hits somebody else, you're liable.
Except now what's happening in New
Don't
York.
worry about that.
Now in New York, I mean, this has been this way in New York for a long time. Luke Rutkowski had that video from like a decade ago where a guy went on a stabbing rampage in the subway. And the cops were like, we are under no obligation to save lives. And so they stood back and watched as a dude was stabbing people, and some passenger intervened and stopped this murderous dude. And then after subduing the guy, and this dude gets all stabbed up, the cops intervene. And apparently there was a lawsuit over it, and the courts ruled, yeah, cops don't have to protect you. So now you end up in cities like New York with gangbangers and criminals, and Mamdani saying release all the inmates from Rikers.
Yeah.
It's just nuts. He has more sympathy for the murderers than for the children that get murdered.
Did he say why he wanted to release the criminals?
He said he went to Rikers, and the day you visited, someone killed themselves, took their own life because of the torturous conditions of Rikers.
Oh, okay. Well, there's a different story. Fix the conditions, maybe, but don't.
And so he said he wants new borough jails in every borough, and that he would close down Rikers and release these inmates. But while he tries to defend himself in the campaign trail now, saying, I'm not for releasing all these prisoners, he has in the past said, crime is a social construct. We need criminal deferral programs instead, where instead of going to jail, you get released with an ankle monitor or something. And he's called for replacing cops as social workers and defunding the police. So we know what he actually wants. Now he's saying what he has to say to get elected.
But show me a city that's Republican run. Like, you know, even in Toronto, like everything is downtown for the Democrats. Like, you know, the city that never sleeps, like New York. The jobs that come with that, the restaurants, the dishwashers, they all, you know, that's the jobs they have to live. They need to have transit. They can't live out in the suburbs, but they're, you know, any city in North America is usually Democrat. And the further you go from the city, the more Republican it comes.
Is that like that in Toronto too?
Oh, absolutely. But I said the services are there for the people that need it, that are all downtown. The transit's there for them. They get, you know, there's all kinds of services for them. So that's why they're kind of congregated in the downtowns of these major cities. And the further you go out, you ask a farmer if he's a Democrat, you don't find very of those, but that's historically the way it is. You show me one Republican city in the United States, I don't think there is any.
Yeah, I think for a brief period a few years ago, San Diego had a Republican mayor. But, yeah, all the urban centers are run by Democrats.
Yeah.
And that's, you think, because as a phenomenon, because of like the reliant on public transport?
Well, travelers, again, the jobs that come with these big cities, you need, you know, people to work in the restaurants and, you know, from the service industry to the dishwashers. And I always said when I was in politics, you know, we have to make it affordable. You can't have a guy come, you know, 5 miles to come and wash dishes in downtown Toronto or downtown New York. You can't afford it. You can't afford to take the transit. So they have to live, and that's why you need affordable housing to make the cities work, right? So, you know, historically, it's been Democrat run, very left leaning in the cities, and the services there for the people that need it. You know, the people that are less fortunate, that are out there, you know, begging for money and panhandling. That's where the people are going to be. So that's where they kind of congregate, right?
Man, I'm thinking about Shays' rebellion after the American government was formed, and basically the farmers, after they went off and fought the revolution, they came back and they owed all this debt because they hadn't been able to run their farms to the cities. And the cities are like, we don't want your soft currency anymore. We don't want your food. We want hard currency. We need money because we need to pay back the French. So they try to take money from the farmers that they didn't have, and the farmers just revolted and went to the city and like stood outside courthouses, basically ready to serve a real revolution again, because the cities were trying to control the outlying territory. Probably since the dawn of man, that's been happening. They congregate, they get centralized power, and then they try and take over everything else. I don't want to talk out of hand about the Chinese because I don't really know how they're doing their central planning, but you know, with the right technology, you can sort of try and take over your environment.
Well, I mean, China has done a really good job of intruding into just about every aspect of the Chinese people's lives.
Probably propping up Mamdani.
I wouldn't.
There are a bunch of crazy accusations about NGOs that have been funneling money. This was a big story, apparently. Soros is accused of funneling some $40 million or whatever through various NGOs that propped up Mamdani. I am not convinced he is popular as people outside of New York think he is. And so there's a lot of questions about this election, not just the polling, but the question of whether or not the Democrat machine will allow these far leftists to actually take over.
I was wondering about that.
I mean, this is a conversation that we've had a lot, right? the kind of the energy of the base is with the far left, but the Democrats have had as much influence and success as they have because they've been getting donations from people that are, left leaning, but they're capitalists. They have money. They're, millionaires and billionaires that have given tons of money to Democrat candidates. I mean, you look at Hillary Clinton's campaign, raised raised $1 billion to run her campaign. Barack Obama spent $1 billion on his campaign. I'm not sure what Joe Biden spent, but it was more than Donald Trump. They're getting these donations because
and they're organized and they stick together and they vote, right? The right seems to, I have so many friends in Toronto say, what happened? How'd you run? How you didn't vote? Like, you got 30% people showing up for an election in your city. Ridiculous.
Yeah, but the Democrats are with the civil war that's going on in the Democrat Party. They're trying to figure out if they're going to have the support of these billionaires that were Democrats, or if they're going to continue to leave the Democrat Party because the Democrat Party is becoming more hostile to people that have money. The more the Democrats focus on class warfare, the less actual big donors they're going to have, because those people are going to be like, well, I want to give money to Democrats because it makes me feel good because they're the nice party, but I'm not going to give money to Democrats if they're going to make policies like, you have to pay a wealth tax every year on whatever money or whatever, assets you have.
That's a good point, because if the liberal economic order is really a corporatocracy, which it seems like it's run by corporate giants, they don't want to empower a communist or a socialist, because that guy will try and take away power from corporations and give it to the state. So I can only imagine that they don't want him to be mayor, but maybe they want just the U.S. to fall. I'm thinking about like global, money power, like Bank for International Settlements, bankers. They want the U.S. to fumble so that a new system, a corporatocracy with a technocracy, can come in through the World Economic Forum, corporate governance. They would like to see the U.S. fail. But I don't know if installing a guy that's semi-communist, socialist, I don't know how he defines himself.
He's a socialist.
He's a communist.
Yeah.
He's literally tweeted from each according to their need to each according to their ability. Thanks for checking out this clip from Timcast IRL. Make sure to watch the show live Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. Subscribe to this channel, and we will see you all there.